I've been waiting for somebody from, like Australia to invite me to come to
Wow. Can I carry your bags?
Absolutely.
Every time that somebody mentions travel, I always offer I can carry bags. I don't know how I'm gonna do it because I have some limitations, but I'll figure it out.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
I'm in. I love to travel. The MS Positive podcast is a platform where people living with multiple sclerosis come to share everything else they do with their lives aside from being an MS patient. Among our guests are artists, singers, bloggers, actors, authors, DJs, and much more. And yeah, also health professionals because we have to stay in the know. We're more than MS. Let's welcome Mindy Eisenberg, the founder and director of Yoga Moves MS, a program that provides adaptive yoga therapy for people with multiple sclerosis and neuromuscular conditions. Mindy has been a yoga instructor since 2004. Welcome, Mindy. It's a real honor to have you in the show today.
Thank you. Namaste. I'm honored to be with you.
Namaste. Namaste. I'm really happy to have you here. I've been following your work and I think it's phenomenal what you're doing for people with multiple sclerosis. If you can give us the background story, how did Yoga Moves MS started and when?
Starting this year, coming up, 2024, will be 2 decades. We'll be 20 years old. Because I started, I'm giving away my age. I started in 2004. For my 40th birthday, I decided it was time to take the yoga teacher training. And then right after I finished it, it was coincidence or fate. You can decide, but someone asked me to volunteer at the MS Society to teach a yoga class there. And of course, nothing had been done like this before. I wasn't formally trained to do it. And then that same year, my son's nursery school teacher asked me if I would visit her support group in a big center, MS center in my area. And that support group was a nice size, and they asked me to start a class there. And we literally meet every Tuesday night, except for holidays, of course. And we've been doing that for almost 20 years, which is crazy. Some of the same people are still in the group.
That's a lot of years. But I am doing the math here, but my brain is not that good with math anymore. But you don't look your age. So
it's the yoga.
It's the yoga. You look pretty good.
Or like you said, it might be the light on the screen.
The light is a good trick. All right, Mindy. So what is your connection to multiple sclerosis? Why is multiple sclerosis so important to you?
So when I started this, that, of course, it was always important to me, but I had no plan for this. As I said, it just kind of happened. It just rolled. But I grew up with a mother who had primary progressive MS, starting when I was about, let's say, 4 or 5 years old. And at the time, we're talking back in the 70s, they had nothing for MS besides some Valium and some steroids. And who knows exactly how it would have progressed in these times, but for her, it was a downhill slope. There was no, quote, remission that they said was very characteristic of the time of MS. So by the time I was in elementary school, 2nd, 3rd grade, she was using a cane. And by the time I was, let's say, middle school, high school, she was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, very typical of primary progressive. I mean, we know that now.
So you can imagine my childhood was very much impacted by that, having a mother who was chronically ill like that, and the amount of care that was needed in the home, and just impacting things like my brother and I needed drivers to take us somewhere. We're going to a piano lesson or ballet or to an event, anything, a family event, a school event. That had to be really planned out. We were in a house that with somebody who was in pain and that was dependent on the caregivers. And if the caregivers didn't show, guess what? Guess who had to help?
It's a lot of pressure for the family members as well. MS not only affects the patient, but the entire household unit.
It sure
Because,
does. It sure does.
yeah, there's a lot of, like you said, they need, or we need people to take care of us when we are at that level with the mobility impairment and the cognitive, and it's a lot for children. I relate to that because when I was diagnosed, my little ones were 4 and 5, and so it was a big change for them. They didn't understand anything. So like my hand was like this when I came home. My hand is
Contracted.
yeah, it was like curling, and so the last time they saw me, my hand was not like that. So I had to come up with the story of Nemo. You know Nemo, the little fish?
Yes, yeah.
He has the lucky fin. So because they were 4 and 5, that was the way I explained it to them. And they were like, oh, it made sense to them. I said, now, mommy has the lucky fin, just like Nemo. And so we would like kind of, hey, with my little with my little hand like that, I had like a little fist. They were little kids. They didn't quite understand, so
I'm not sure we understood either, but we knew she wasn't well. We didn't understand what was happening, and it was going so fast. And it sounds like you made a positive twist on it. And I remember my mother being very angry, very mad.
I was very angry as well. But I came back home on Christmas Eve and I said, no matter what happens, we're gonna have Christmas here. So I finished decorating my tree, the worst tree of my life.
No.
But they had Christmas. I said you have to keep rolling. Don't matter. They have to have Christmas, and I just try to make it work. But definitely it was very hard. Yeah, and for them it was hard because I couldn't do the same things, and they had to learn to adapt to me and modify with me. We learned together.
Absolutely. I think I'm more independent because of it. I don't think there's any question about it.
Definitely, that's how they are too.
People say, "Oh, Mindy, you're so strong," and I don't know what they're really talking about. We didn't, as kids, we didn't know any different. That was just the way it was. There would be a little bit of a pity party. Oh, it must be so hard for you. Oh, you're so good to your mother, and I'm like, I don't really know what they're talking about, right? As time went on, her body became more and more spastic to the point where you could barely straighten her legs. I don't think they did straighten. I don't, in the later years, I don't remember them straightening. So you could describe it as a fetal position, the body curl in.
And probably back then, right? There was not that much information like for you guys to learn, have an idea of what's happening inside her body and why it's acting.
Right. I remember that my parents tried to do a lot of research. My father was a physician, and they really did look all over the place for as much as they could find about it. There's so much more now, right? There's so much more to slow down the progression.
That's what I mean. Because and my kids now they don't read about it because they don't want to.
Don't blame them. They want to read something else.
I know they already see it every day. My oldest one though, because I have an oldest son. He's turning 25 now.
Oh, no way.
I
That's
do. I
not
do.
possible.
My oldest son is turning 25 next month. And he did his research. He went on YouTube and he came to the hospital with Dr. Terry Wall's protocol.
Oh, he did. Wow. He really.
He exposed me to that. He taught me about it. I was paralyzed and on the bed in the hospital. I couldn't move, couldn't use the bathroom. Was just there like a vegetable. And he came with that idea. He brought, remember, he brought a tablet and he showed me the video. And he said, that's the first time I heard about it. That's how I learned about MS. He said, "You see this? This is great. She did it. Look how she was on that on her scooter or that chair that she used to use. She did this, and look at her.
And
She's
you can
walking,
too, Mom.
and so this is what you're gonna do, and you will be all right. You'll get up from that bed." And I was like, "Wow." So he spent his time, but the other two they were little, and now they have a lot of information online, but they do other stuff on YouTube. They research a lot, but I don't think they want to look up MS anymore. They have enough
Yeah,
of it
they've got
every day.
enough.
Yeah, and I also educate them. I teach them. So I tell them this is what I have today. This is what we're dealing with. So you work around this because this is all I got for you. It's that
Do
simple.
they worry that they're going to get it?
Yeah. My second one, the middle child, he's very worried about it. Very worried about it. That's was the first thing he asked me. I'm raw honest. I tell him you could. You can't say no, but maybe not because there's nothing set in stone about that yet. We have some sort of direction in that area, but we don't know for sure. But could be. So you got to take care of yourself. I don't know.
I remember I was scared to have kids. I was afraid I was going to pass it on. And my dad said, "Oh, he was a physician. He said, if you're afraid of that, forget it. The percentage of people that get it who had a parent had it is very low."
That's what you wanted to hear.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. And he probably wanted to be a grandpa, right?
Yeah. Right. Oh my goodness. Well, that was a good insight from your personal, experience with MS, which is great. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm pretty open about it. Chronic disease is something I even studied in my master's. I was studying long-term care, and I went to it's kind of like a business degree, master's degree for hospital administration. So I spent a lot of time looking at the long-term care industry, seeing how it impacted our family. It's not just there's all the family dynamics and really the friends. I always say, my mom's friends, they dwindled as she got sicker and sicker, which would be a natural evolution. But there was also this financial burden, almost 24/7 care for over 20 years. It's a long time.
Your mom passed. Am I correct?
Yes. Well, I'm 59. She was 58 when she passed.
And did she pass of a complication of MS or it was something else?
So one of the other things of living with somebody with this type of condition was the number of UTIs, urinary tract infections, and
Especially
also,
when you're in med.
yes, and also pneumonia. Her lungs would get clogged. She had obstructions. But the UTIs was the most common reason that she'd be in and out. And it's amazing how those infections impact the body. Her cognitive function would go way down. And then when they gave her the antibiotic, it was like a miracle. It was, wow, she's back. Which is actually why we moved back to Michigan, because I was living in Chicago at the time with my husband. We were just married. And she kept going in and out of the hospital. And we're like, this is ridiculous. Let's just go move there.
Close to her.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, usually the UTIs are very common with multiple, even nowadays with the medications. Some of the side effects is that you get more UTIs, and they tend to flare. All the symptoms, and you get more cognitive deterioration and weakness. It can really affect, and then once it's gone, you can see the change. I've heard that before.
Yes, yes. And I know I have students now who've had all kinds of different procedures for that, for the different kinds of urinary incontinence and infections. And she didn't actually pass away from the UTI. She passed away probably from a collapsing lung, like her ability to breathe became less and less. And, there's things going on. It looked like she was stable for so long, but there was a lot going on inside that we can't see. And then all of a sudden it was like, she's having trouble breathing. And that was that. So it definitely was her time.
Wow, sorry. let's move forward. Thank you for that again. That was a lot of personal information. I appreciate you sharing with us. Your organization, Yoga Moves MS, held the Hybrid Holistic Health and Wellness Forum for MS, and you had very popular presenters there, like Dr. Aaron Buster, Megan Weigel,
Yeah.
Weigel from OMS Yoga.
Yes. So we try to do a mixture because we're based in Michigan. We try to have some experts from local MS centers that are very notable, and at the same time have some national presenters as well. So we do a little mix up there. We feel like it's nice to do that. And we have such great resources around here, including the University of Michigan. And then Megan and I have been friends for a very long time. We met because when I finished my book, Adaptive Yoga Moves Anybody, I was calling around to see who might be interested in the book. And I called the consortium of MS centers, and they said, you really need to meet Megan Weigel because she also is interested in yoga for MS. And she also had a nonprofit, or has a nonprofit called OMS. Get it? OMS.
OMS Yoga, OMS Yoga.
So Megan and I met at the Consortium of MS Centers. They do an annual event in different states where they bring in people come from all over the world who are experts in MS, and they present. It's very much focused towards research. What's the new development in MS? These presentations are attended. The sessions are attended by other professionals, such as nurses and doctors, who want to learn more and keep up with what's new in MS. Megan and I offer a yoga class for attendees at the event. It's always a highlight. It's a lot of fun. It's early in the morning before the other presentations begin, like 6 a.m. And the last few times we've been able to do it outside over the water. So it's really nice for the attendees to have a little break to start their day that way. And of course, it's really optimal to start with a little breathing and moving before sitting through all those presentations throughout the day. So that's how Megan and I met. And then since then, we've been very close. We've done some projects together. We have, I offered a teacher training for, she lives in Jacksonville, Florida. So I went there with another teacher, and we offered an adaptive yoga teacher training for people who wanted to learn more about teaching people with MS. And that was years ago. So we've stayed in contact. And during COVID, we were both offering online yoga classes.
I remember.
Through our two nonprofits. Right.
We were all looking for online yoga classes.
Yeah, what are we going to do during COVID?
Yeah.
And so she was offering a few days a week, and so was I through Yoga Moves MS. We decided, let's put our schedule together with our team of teachers, and then we'll be able to offer one class a day that's live online. And we were able to offer live classes every day of the week this year.
So this wellness forum for MS, was it born during the pandemic, or?
It was born in 2019. And I was talking to a colleague, and she said, maybe you should offer a holistic health and wellness forum. Or she didn't call it that. She probably called it a wellness forum. And I'm like, that's an interesting idea. Isn't anybody else doing that? Isn't this already offered? And lo and behold, I find out that nobody's doing that with the focus on holistic health.
On holistic, exactly. Because there's webinars, many of them, that bring a lot of doctors and physicians, but the holistic side of it, that was the key fact here.
Yes, that was the new take on it. And so we offered one in person in Michigan in 2019. And It was a major hit. I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Alan Bowling, but he wrote a book about complementary options or that could complement traditional medical care. And so we brought him in and had some other speakers as well. The room was filled. We had 260 people coming to this holistic forum. And I turned to one of the sponsors because one of the sponsors sent a manager up from, I think, North Carolina. And I'm like, why did you come to Michigan? And they're like, because we think you're doing something new and innovative and different. And I'm like, wow, I had no idea.
I would like to meet that person. I just moved to North Carolina. Maybe we can connect.
Wow, I've always wanted. We're trying to get to North Carolina. My husband and I have this idea that it's really, really beautiful. Where are you in North Carolina?
It is. It's so beautiful. It was so beautiful, enough beautiful for me to fall in love with it and move within 6 months. I'm in Raleigh. You had also the Wellness for MS Forum in Chicago this year. Is that the first time in Chicago for the forum?
Yeah, so first time in Chicago. So what happened was 2019 was in person. 2020 with COVID went all online. I can't remember the exact number, but it was around 300 or so were attending online. And we were like, wow, this is amazing.
That's great because people, I mean, my experience with the virtual world is very hard to get people to go on the computer and participate. That has been my experience. Like you get them, but it requires like an extra effort. So that was a great turnout.
We were shocked. And then we did it again in 2021, which was only online, live and recorded. And the numbers went up to like 400 or 500 registrants. And that really blew our mind. So last year, when we came back to in person, we decided it had to be a hybrid. So that we did that in May of this year. And then we did Chicago in April of this year. The chairman of our board, Dr. James Voce, he used to live in Michigan. And I say he had the nerve to move to Chicago. I have to bribe him to keep him involved. So I'm like, we'll do an event in Chicago. And he really wanted to bring it there. So we had to break into that market and meet people in Chicago because the idea is that we want to build community so people know in different areas that they have resources and people that they can talk to who share similar interests.
Yeah, exactly. Community, people to connect, relate to. It's important. Yes.
I didn't realize it at the time. When I started Yoga Moves MS, I did not realize the importance of community. I really didn't grow up with a very supportive community or know about any resources. And this has been incredible to see the gifts that come out of the members, the students of the community. We get people who are attending from out of this country.
That's amazing. So you are, causing a great impact. Not only here in the United States, but now abroad. Some people don't have a support network. That's very important for your recovery process. I always say that.
Watching my students in class, they're always sharing different ideas about what they do or what procedure they had or what medicine they're on or how they approached a certain symptom. So that's really beautiful to see. And so our classes, both online and in person, have become quasi support groups. As much as we are teaching adaptive yoga to people, it's also a place for this social aspect. And then people who don't have transportation, it's really nice to be able to offer them this resource and connection with others online.
I know I have a friend that he is in a scooter for the most part. So he moves around in his tiny apartment while he's alone in a scooter. He does everything in the scooter. And he says about what you just said. He said when the pandemic started and everybody was in lockdown, everybody was home. He said, well, welcome to my world. I do this every day. It's true. It's true. At that moment, nobody, could leave the house, but MS patients We know what that is, the isolation, but then it got worse. So programs like this were very helpful. My support group was born during the pandemic for that same reason. There was absolutely nothing to do. I couldn't go to physical therapy. I couldn't go to the yoga classes that I used to go that were sponsored through the MS Society. They would not allow us to get together in a room. It was just horrible. I created my group for that same reason, and I was lucky enough that it survived the pandemic. Those were challenging times. So definitely resources like this save the day.
And our in-person classes, they're very happy to be back in person. And one of my goals is to train others in different communities in this country, out of this country, so that they can offer adaptive yoga both in person and online in various places. The last teacher training we did, we had a few people from Italy. So what we have found is there's a few different types of attendees. One is they've been a yoga teacher and they want to learn how to teach adaptive yoga. And we don't limit it to MS. We also teach for Parkinson's, and very much a lot of these principles can be applied to different similar neurological conditions. Because there's so many symptoms with MS and with Parkinson's, once you learn that, you can very often transition to a different type of condition. We have physical therapists and occupational therapists and some nurses and social workers who want to learn. So, yeah, I think our primary market is actually rehab professionals now, because when we offered it last time, it was almost 50-50 between yoga teachers and rehab professionals. PTs and OTs are trying to learn how to do it so they can integrate it into their treatment plan. I think some clinics are doing it so that they offer a class within their center, and that way they can keep their patients. So when they need them, they're there. But if not, they still have something movement-wise to help them when they're not under physical therapy treatment plan. We have an effort to reach out to different PTs. They're the ones who are very much interested in the book and in our adaptive yoga cards. So they're really for everybody. One other category of people that often attend are caregivers who want to learn how to help their partner at home, help them stretch or help them get a little stronger. So we have seen some either parents or siblings or a care partner who comes into the house attend. I've been waiting for somebody from, like Australia to invite me to come teach.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Can I carry your bags?
Absolutely.
Listen, I love traveling, so every time that somebody mentions travel, I always offer I can carry back. I don't know how I'm gonna do it because I have some limitations, but I'll figure it out. You
Okay.
can count on
All
me.
right. Let's do it.
I'm in. I love to travel. So let me ask you, and pardon my ignorance, but I'm here to learn from you. If you take this yoga teacher training for adaptive yoga, does that make you an MS specialist yoga therapist? And this is where I'm coming from. I remember the MS Society would not allow when they were holding the classes and we could go for free to some yoga studio before the pandemic to take the classes. The teacher had to have this particular training in MS. Are we talking about the same thing, this adaptive yoga?
The MS Society has a training online for, quote, fitness professionals to learn more about MS. But it does not, in my opinion, it is not enough. It is not enough. What it does I think it's an introduction for people out there who haven't been exposed to people with MS to help them apply what they know to people with MS. But I think it's just the tip of the iceberg, and I think of it as a minimum requirement. We suggest to all our attendees that they take that that training because it is free. The MS Society has it. You can go online and take it. So we suggest to people who attend our training that they take that before they even attend our training. And yoga therapists have more training than a, quote, mainstream yoga instructor. I'm one of the first certified yoga therapists in that beginning group of people, because yoga therapy is a new profession. Usually, so people start out with what's called an RYT 200. That's 200 hours of teacher training for people to be able to teach yoga. Then the yoga therapy is usually a 500 to 1,000 hours of training to be a yoga therapist. So there's quite a difference in the level of knowledge. Now, I have a team of really 12 teachers who teach yoga for MS, and they have years of experience. We have one physical therapist who took the adaptive yoga training as well and mentored with us. So she's teaching it, but every other one of them has significant teaching yoga experience, in addition to different types of yoga. Like there's restorative yoga, and there's a certification for that. Different types of certifications in meditation. Like I took the training through the Center for Mindfulness at University of Massachusetts, which is a mindful-based stress reduction program. So there's all these different programs out there and trainings and different specialties. Like there's yoga for arthritis, and there's yoga for pain, and yoga for diabetes, and there's all different kinds of continuing education that can be taken.
That's what I was going to say. There's continuing education involved in this.
Yes. And yoga's new. It's not like physical therapy that you have a license for. That hasn't come about yet, where a license is required in a state to practice it.
Yeah, you read my mind, because that's what I'm comparing it to, an MS specialized or certified physical therapist and adaptive yoga specialized instructor.
Yes, yes. So, there's just all these different levels of education. And to me, the certification, I don't quote certified people until I know they can teach a class. So we do a mentorship that can be online or in person. And for instance, someone who's learning online through a mentorship would tape classes that we watch to see how they teach.
You said levels. You are at the pro level.
Oh, yeah.
You're like,
I mean, when I was
up
up
here
there in the...
I have taken your classes, and hey, and I know you are pro.
Thank you.
And I have taken other classes with teachers, like you, that teach adaptive yoga, and I won't lie to you, they were good, but there's levels and there's levels.
There is, but it's from the years of, and I'm very open to learning from students. I'm always learning from students, because there isn't a class where they don't teach me something. And we're always looking for different adaptations based on people's abilities. And we don't, by the way, we don't say we can't do. We create another way to do it.
I love that. We modify and we still do it. We, find another way to do it. I love it. That's my mojo. That's what I've had to learn from day one, because I had to relearn all my basic skills, like brushing my teeth, doing my hair, makeup. I had to relearn everything. My brain forgot, and my limbs would not cooperate. First, I started by modeling with the left side, looking at it, and then I would register, and then would mimic with the right side. So it was a long process to be able to use the right side of my body. But then with yoga, and of course I recovered pretty good, 95% after that. So that was good recovery. At that point, I went down already on the percentage. But hey, and with yoga, I did yoga right after I was diagnosed. I signed up because I was doing yoga before MS. So, it's been like 15 years now. Maybe right now, not as I should.
Uh-oh.
Tell me about the party with a purpose that you held November 11.
So we haven't done one since COVID. So it's been 4 years. 2019 was the last time we did it. The purpose of the party with a purpose is to raise funds because we don't charge for our live daily classes. We don't charge for our in-person classes. And it's a way to make sure that we can offer this without the ability to pay. So our classes are donation only. Of course, we love donations, but we don't require it. And this way, everyone can access the yoga.
Okay. And how was it this year? So it was the first one you said, right? After.
It's the first one after COVID. We honored 2 physicians in this area who are very notable for MS. In addition to that, we honor a student or community member that contributes to the MS community in a very significant way. It was Leah Narens this year, and she helps us with our nonprofit strategic planning. She's been very helpful with that. She's also a role model for how to handle MS with grace. So we usually honor somebody who's a member of our community and some physicians, or it could be nurses or people who are healthcare providers. And then about 200 attendees are there, and we have a silent auction. We had a 50-50. Everybody gets a really nice meal and gets dressed up for the evening. And there's Saturday night chic clothing apparel.
Yeah, I saw the
And we
pictures.
have a band. And this year we had it was called an art action experience, which I'm going to put online. We haven't yet. This gorgeous painting where everybody who attended got to contribute to the painting, and the artist takes it home. And it's this beautiful, almost like a mural. And one of our people on our committee, one of the co-chairs, she said she's going to make it the Yoga Moves MS mascot. It's very colorful, and it's got all kinds of words on it, like peace and breathe and love and all that, meditation and yoga. And we're going to make some things out of it, like note cards and journals and maybe some tote bags so people can enjoy it.
This fundraiser is something that you've been holding every year since when?
So I've been doing this for, let's say, 18, 19 years, and it's 12 years old. The party with a purpose is 12 years old, and then we skipped 4 years for COVID. So it's really 16 years. And so we didn't do it when we first started. I just wasn't sure how to keep it up because I didn't want to charge the students a lot, except I had to pay for rent. I had to pay teachers to help me. We had supplies to buy. There's so many, there's so many costs. Now there's the social media. With all that involved, we had to find a way to cover the expenses.
Yeah, there's. I was gonna say I guess it adds up. There's a lot of expenses involved in all this, and a lot of work. You probably have like a whole village behind you, helping with this because coordinating events.
We have a lot of wonderful, wonderful volunteers.
That's great.
That share all kinds of talents. We have our outreach manager. She puts in so much time and will not accept any compensation. I can't even tell you. Like, it could be anywhere from 20 to 40 hours a week. And she is so creative. For the party with a purpose, she made 200 and some of these bamboo plants that went in front of everybody's plate at the party with a purpose. Any of those beautiful emails you see, she helps put those together. We have people who help out with the website. We have people who help out with social media. We have people who help out with strategic planning. We have people that help with the events, like when we do the Holistic Health and Wellness Forum, answering questions, help with setup and cleanup. As you said, it takes a village.
Yeah. There's a lot of work involved in that. So the fact that you do everything that you do, you have all those classes, and then you run, this fundraiser and the wellness forum. I mean, You do a lot.
I had no idea that I was going to become an event planner, but now we have 3 major events in the year.
I know. You have a book, Adaptive Yoga Moves Anybody. I have that book. You have the yoga cards as well. And you have a shop on your website, people. So you can purchase these items.
So we have the Adaptive Yoga cards. So it's for all kinds of different poses, seated, standing, and on the earth, and they're color coded. You can see, like, here's a pose on the front, and then here's a pose on the back, 3 poses on the back. That's the yellow. Here's the green. These are for poses on the mat. So that's the back, and here's the front. And everybody on these cards has MS. So they're all my students. Here's one.
These are actual students.
These are actual students. I am not on these. They are on these. The same with the book. We did 7 photo shoots. I am in some of these, but my students are too.
I remember I was at the MS Views and News Symposium, and I remember the first time I saw you. You were there, and you did the class. The little stretching, which I enjoyed. It was really cool, and I got the book there.
Was that
so?
Or
in Florida? Yeah.
That's fantastic! I had no idea.
Yeah, that's the first time I saw you. Then I saw you again last year, I think it was, at the same symposium. We had a quick, hello, how are you? You probably don't remember because everybody says hello to you. But I was like, oh my God. And you said hi to me. I was like, wow. And I remember Dr. Aaron Busser was right next to you. And I was like, I'm usually not shy, but I don't know.
Famous.
It was so cool because I see you guys and you everywhere, and then you were there in person. So it's different when you get to see the and so close, because we're so close. Because I saw you on stage back then the first time, and I did the class and got the book, and great. But then the second time you were like right there, and I'm like, oh my God, it's great. Anyway, just a little sideline, side story.
Yes, all kinds of resources available. The recordings, the and the book, the cards. This is the teacher training manual. This manual, behind you, is over 100 pages of what I know is put in this book. So,
how did it take you to write that book? That book is massive, but it has so much information.
5 years, because 7 photo shoots. There were so many, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photos. And, we organized getting our students there to take the photos. And then we had to have a specific graphic designer work on all this. I sat down with my editor and talked out every single pose. And she's also a yogi. We kind of duked it out about what was going to be included, because we wanted the directions to be concise, accurate, and not overwhelming. So we really, really debated almost every word in the book. It took a long time. It was definitely, people said, a labor of love. And my editor and I became very close because of that.
You put your heart and soul, literally, and sweat.
It was like birthing a baby. She really got me a baby bottle when got the first print.
It's a really good book. So I highly recommend that you guys go to our website and get the book. It's really good. I have it. So
I did not know you had it.
I do have it. Yeah. Mindy, so tell me, what is your website? How can people get in contact with you? Look up the services, yoga services and classes that you offer. Go ahead and share it with us and the people that are listening.
So the website is yogamovesms.org. So yoga, YOGA, moves, MOVES, MS.org. And that will take you to pretty much everything. And it'll take you to how to get to me. You can always email me at Mindy, MINDY, at yogamovesms.org. And if you don't remember that, info at yogamovesms.org will also get you to me.
And if they are interested in taking classes in person, can they get in contact through there as well?
Can. Well, if they live in Michigan, it'll be easy.
If they live in Michigan, of
If
course.
they don't live in Michigan, I can try to figure out who might be in their area. I can kind of put out a message outline saying, hey, guys, anybody teach in California, or Florida or North Carolina? And that's why I want people to take the teacher training. Either have me come, find a way. I want to come to North Carolina and see you in Raleigh.
Oh, I was going to propose that. I love you. That's great. I was going to tell you, come to North Carolina and bring something, and I'll help you.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Spread the word. Because I tell you what, there's not many. I mean, I love where I live. I think it's great. But I find that there's not, or maybe I'm just not that familiar yet. I don't see that there's too many resources available. And this is a great start. I mean, it would be so good if. Why don't you bring one of the MS forums here? I mean, let's do
it. Let's do it.
That'd be amazing. I mean, I'll be right there. It'd be really good. Yeah, because I don't know if I'm gonna travel to Michigan because of the snow.
We could plan it. You could be on the planning committee.
Oh, yeah. I have nothing else to do. I'm not busy at all. I have so much free time.
You have so much free time.
But I am so excited about just the idea of you bringing something here. I'll help you. I'll be part of it.
Oh,
no, I'll be part of it.
We got this recorded, Mighty.
Yeah. Mindy, I am really happy that you accepted the invitation and that you were here sharing so much information and the insight from, your personal experience with MS. Again, really appreciate that. Probably a lot of people out there didn't even know. So thank you for that. And just want to say that I really admire your work. I think it's phenomenal. The effort, the determination, the loyalty that I see from you. It's amazing and admirable. So just know that I have been your fan for longer than you have known me.
Oh, now I know. You're pretty amazing yourself. Such positive energy that you give off. It must be all that yoga.
Really, yoga becomes a lifestyle, and regardless.
Yes, it becomes a lifestyle. And that's why we started those holistic health and wellness forums, because
I love it. I really like that. And I would like to participate in one of those holistic forums that you have. I love the approach, the holistic approach. It's so helpful. So thank you again. And I'll see you next time. I guess we'll be in touch soon then.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Get your feet wet with yoga and you'll be hooked. It's great. And she's awesome. So thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.